Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Diana Perlov. I'm the Senior Director of Client Success at Open Influence, and I'm very excited to be sharing the stage with the wonderful Olivia Wei, Director overseeing influencer marketing at Macy's, and Jenny Espinal, an amazing New York City-based creator known for her stylish outfits and beauty inspo. I mean, look at her. She's obviously in Macy's. So let me just start by sharing one of the many things that my team loves about working with a brand like Macy's is how they're not afraid to push boundaries, whether we're leveraging trend-based content or adding creator affiliate links to posts. Macy's has consistently been one of those brands that fully embraces all of the creative possibilities available for co-creation with influencers. So today we'll talk about how Open Influence and Macy's set up thoughtful, impactful campaigns that drive results and hopefully leave you all inspired to think differently about your creator approach to ambassadorships. So our goal is really to identify the distinction between traditional creator versus ambassador tactics and how that shows up differently in relationship building, look and feel of the assets, and flexibility in timing. And we really can't wait to show you some of the work that we've been doing with Olivia and her team. So I'll turn it over to Olivia to walk us through Macy's approach to creator marketing before we dive into some tactics and case studies.
Perfect. Thanks, Diana. So for Macy's, really, our strategy is to partner with brand fit influencers who have a true, genuine love for the brand. And we also want to really partner with them in a long-term capacity. So that's what's really important to us. How do we get there? Really planning our budget to ensure that influencers can be posting multiple times throughout the season. And then also really evaluate them and vet them to see, do we want to continue partnering with them season over season? Secondly, we really do want to differentiate Macy's Style Crew because there are so many competitive brand ambassador programs out there. How can we ensure that we're really offering continuous perks and benefits so that people really get excited to continuously participate within the program? And then lastly, really ensuring that our influencer campaigns are laddering up to our KPIs and we're really being successful with that. So really setting those benchmarks at the start of the campaign and ensuring that we're partnering with the OI team to optimize and make sure that we are tracking to success within the campaign KPIs.
Awesome, thanks Olivia. So a lot of brands and advertisers here have probably nailed the execution of a traditional creator program, and that might even include something like multi-post partnerships. But there are more creative solutions on the table, like season-long ambassadorships that really offer great potential, and that means relationship building, right? So it's all about the relationships and the unique program perks, and that's what really sets ambassador programs like Style Crew apart. There's also flexibility in timing and look and feel of the assets, so you really have to think about all of that when you're putting a program together. So we are actually going to dive into the differences between the two. So single post partnerships, these offer a really quick and impactful way to deliver key messaging, usually through a one-off engagement. Assuming you've set up your program with a high volume of creators doing one post as opposed to fewer creators doing multiple posts, you're naturally going to have a variety of content. And that diversity is great for something like an SEO strategy on TikTok, where content discovery is really crucial. On the flip side, ambassadorships offer brands that really unique opportunity for consistent visibility and a deeper integration into a creator's content. There's also multiple touch points of key brand and product messaging, usually across a longer timeline, and that allows for that always-on presence on social, which is really key for your brand because you always want to be top of mind for consumers. You can also capitalize on the tailwinds of a creator's followership growing over time, and you get economies of scale, assuming you're bundling 4, 5, 6 posts into one deal. So you should definitely get discounts from creators that way. You're also presenting a unique opportunity for brands to really be responsive to trends and be nimble and give creators the flexibility to align brand messaging with the current cultural moment, which is really critical. And for those who are doing program perks or seeding or exclusive incentives, creators are definitely going to post added value for your brand because it's already authentic and the audience expects them to be posting. So you're reducing costs on a per post basis as well. So really both approaches have their place, but ambassadorships offer that deeper value and scalability and that strong relationship between brand and creator, which is how Macy's has found success in the creator economy. So now that we've identified the differences between the two, we'd love to show you a sizzle of our work together before we dive into the nitty-gritty of creative strategy and program perks, so you can actually see how that shows up in our assets.
So let me show you some recent picks from Macy's.
I just went crazy at Macy's.
I feel like I can shop so many brands at once.
I'm going to bring you with me to Macy's Backstage. Great affordable price and on trend.
That is everything I got at Macy's Backstage. What will you find?
Today we're going to Macy's.
Thanks to Macy's for always being that one-stop shop for my skincare needs.
$22.50. That's insane.
Love the boutique Macy's store. There's something for everyone.
Quick and easy, has the latest trends with some of our favorite designers on one floor. Happy shopping.
On 34th from Macy's has so many fun items right now, like this bright green sweater and denim jacket.
There's just something about it that makes me feel like a queen.
Have you heard about the workshop at Macy's?
It's a vendor accelerator program dedicated to underrepresented retail brands.
And even sell their stuff at Macy's.
We love a sizzle because that way we're not talking at you for 30 minutes. But I really do love that, and it showcases all the fun work that we do together. So complementing season-long programs with ambassadorships might feel like a no-brainer to a lot of you in this room in 2024, but avoiding transactional partnerships and instead creating mutually beneficial relationships requires creating, thoughtful strategic tactics within and surrounding the campaign itself. And I know Olivia mentioned a little bit earlier about, needing to stand out from competitive ambassador programs. Style Crew really generates a lot of organic brand advocacy. And the way to do that and create that is by investing back in your partners. So Olivia, tell us a little bit about the inception and initial vision of Style Crew and the decision to expand to external creators.
Sure. So Macy's Style Crew is truly an ambassador program. We want every single member within the program to really be excited to promote Macy's frequently and really organically, truly having that brand love for Macy's. So we do offer a lot more than just flat fee partnerships. We have access to so many vendors who really like to invite our brand ambassadors to vendor events. We also seed out a lot of product to our influencers. We also do host our own branded events, so trips, dinners, photo shoots, things like that. We also partner with our platform partnerships, so they'll host workshops where influencers will get access directly to these social platforms where they can ask questions to them. We also do giveaway perks for our Macy's Thanksgiving Parade and 4th of July. So a lot of really exciting program perks and benefits there. Macy's Style Crew actually started as a colleague-only program. And then when I joined the team, I think it was just like a no-brainer to expand it to external influencers because these are influencers who truly do have that strong reach, that strong engagement. And I know that we are competing against other brand ambassador programs. So Macy's really does try to differentiate ourselves and make sure that we are offering continuous program perks and benefits so that our influencers are coming back for more and participating within the program.
That's exactly right. So clearly brand advocacy is driven by this investment in employees, consumers, creators, et cetera. Another key tactic here is really investing in the personal lives of your creators. You don't just want to make them a part of your marketing calendar. It has to be that two-way street. So Jenny, would love to hear from you on what your experience has been with Style Crew and how that has cultivated brand loyalty and brand advocacy.
Yeah, so when it comes to multi-post partnerships, brand loyalty is very important to me. And I like to look for brands that genuinely connect and understand my content. And Macy's has been a prime example of this for me. They've shown me that I'm not just a part of their marketing plan, but an actual partner that they care about. And I also love that they understand that my audience connects with authenticity because As a creator, your audience will call you out. They know when something is not authentic to you. So I like that I'm able to integrate the brand on my regular day-to-day content organically.
Love that. And I think another way to do that, Olivia lightly touched on events, but relationship events are really great. They did this awesome brand trip this year in Colorado where they brought their Style Crew partners to thank them for the relationship and partnership. And I've seen a lot of brands go all in on one big event, bring creators there, and they check that box. But what we love that Macy's does is show up more consistently with Style Crew dinners and photo shoots in cities around the country. That's a great opportunity for creators to meet brand key stakeholders and hear from them how their content is impacting the overarching social strategy, and then vice versa. Creators get to share their experience, their feedback, how low inventory might impact performance, what formats to tap into, is it lives, is it shops? So you really host that feedback loop, and relationship events are an amazing place for that kind of conversation. So if you've been following Macy's for the last couple of years, you know they have a rich history of collaborating with creators to elevate brand storytelling and connect with consumer and diverse audiences. So Olivia, tell me more about the process for selecting these creators for long-term partnerships and how the brand gets the most out of these relationships.
Sure. So long-term relationships are definitely what we go after when it comes to our creator strategy. I think frequency is so important. So posting multiple times throughout a season really showcases to a creator's audience the authenticity and the genuine love for the brand. And I think the repetitiveness of it too really just keeps Macy's top of mind for a creator's audience. I will also say, because we have so many posts to choose from, it is great so that we can repurpose that within our own Macy's social and also other marketing channels too. And really being able to test out what works and what doesn't for our own Macy's audience has been so important and useful for us. And then lastly, I will say that we also do flex posts. So at the beginning of a season, we'll have the creators hold a couple of posts that we just want to really be flexible about. So whether that be a company priority that we want influencers to post more about, or really playing into a fun social media trend, we hold those posts for the season so that our creators will be able to tap into those later.
Yeah, and I love what you said about trends. Every brand out there is like, how do I capitalize and tap into these trends with such short shelf lives? And we've really been able to do that here. So we can move quickly with these flex posts. So that's how we've created these really nimble opportunities. And these flex posts don't have a pre-planned structure in terms of timing or the subject matter. So Jenny, from your perspective, how have these less traditional flex posts allowed you to approach your Macy's collaborations and activate in a way that necessarily wouldn't be possible if you didn't have these flex posts in your contract?
Yeah, so flex posts have been a game changer for me as a creator, especially when it comes to staying relevant with trends, particularly on TikTok, because those trends go really, really fast. And I like having the freedom to create content that isn't tied to a strict plan, because that allows me to quickly, if a new trend emerges, I'm able to quickly create content that is relevant at that time and that resonates with my audience. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying about pivoting quickly, only possible if you have deep familiarity with the brand, because you don't want to spend days onboarding creators, briefing them on Macy's do's and don'ts, safety zones, how to do product select. So it's really crucial that we have this pool of ambassadors to tap into. So we actually did really fun ones like Girl Math and Whisper into Your Partner's Phone Trend, amongst many others, and that performed so well for us. And we had this pool of ambassadors to also choose from, so we can pick who can actually align really authentically to this trend, so we can leverage the trend's momentum without, saying, okay, everybody has to go and do this one trend, even if it doesn't make sense for their feeds. So it's been really nice to just capitalize on these trends, because again, they're not relevant in 2 weeks, so you can only do that with an ambassador structure in place. So I think we kind of understand the benefits of an ambassadorship. If you don't, come talk to us after. But of course, what's really important is that they perform against brand KPIs. So we talked about creative and production, and that's really only half the formula. you want to make sure that you're maximizing ROI on these assets. So from your perspective, how's our creator content being measured against Macy's brand KPIs, and how might that inform future production efforts?
Yeah, so I think the creator industry is just so unique in the sense where influencer campaign KPIs can really vary across companies in how they are evaluating success. But for Macy's specifically, how we measure success is truly, one, the content that comes out of a campaign. That's actually one of our success metrics. Is it high quality content? Can we use it in other Macy's marketing channels? Does it perform well for those channels? We actually do really see the content as a cost effective and a cost efficient way versus having our own Macy's production team go out and hire a bunch of models and do the photo shoot on their own. So that's definitely really important to us. And then outside of that, I would say reach is really important to us too. Macy's doesn't necessarily have a brand awareness problem, but brand consideration is a true KPI for us and really important to us. So we definitely measure that by looking at impressions, impression rate, followed by engagement rate, and how much traffic is being driven to our site. Conversion rate and revenue, I would say, are kind of more secondary for us. I feel like sales don't always tell like the full story and the impact that an influencer can make, especially thinking about last click attribution. So I think just kind of looking at it holistically and really honing in on the reach and awareness part is really crucial for us.
Yeah, and I think from a creator standpoint, multi-post partnerships really allow for a deeper connection between brands and their audience over a longer period of time. So Jenny, definitely want to hear from you in terms of how you approach these long-term collaborations and ensure that each piece of Macy's content still feels fresh and engaging over time while driving performance for the campaign.
Yes, so with my long-term collaboration with Macy's, I tried to keep my content fresh by telling an evolving story over time. So for example, this year, I worked with Macy's during the spring and summer on a multi-post campaign. And what I wanted to focus on was making sure that I featured multiple pieces multiple times throughout the partnership. That way I felt that if my audience buys an item at the beginning of my partnership and they continuously see it throughout the entirety of my partnership, they're able to, it keeps them engaged and it keeps them coming back to see how else is she gonna style that t-shirt that I bought from her at the beginning of the partnership. So I feel like by doing that, it keeps them engaged, but I'm also able to focus on, what was the question?
Driving performance.
On driving performance, yes.
Yeah, no, love that. And so I think we heard from brand perspective around brand KPIs and creator perspective on, creating deeper connections with their audience. From an open influence standpoint, we're in the driver's seat. So how are we maximizing performance over time? And remember that what we're talking about here is we're in the confines of a single program. Obviously, it's much easier to optimize campaign from campaign, but we can't just unwind deliverables. We have an upfront commitment with these creators. So if stories aren't performing, we're not removing stories from contracts. So instead, we lean into tactics within the campaign itself, wave over wave. So there's not a one-size-fits-all playbook to optimizations, but some of the ways we've adjusted are creatively changing length of asset, experimenting with that, native features. For example, when the Search Insights tool was released on TikTok, we actually looked at the keywords from the last 7 days for beauty and fashion and implemented that into creators' content so that Macy's content can come up when users search on TikTok in the category. We also saw for one of our campaigns that mid-funnel performance actually improved if there was price overlaid on the asset itself. So for that specific campaign, we mandated that all creators adjust the asset and include price of product in the video itself. Obviously, it had to be authentic to their feed, but that worked really well. We saw higher clicks from that campaign. And you see that snapshot on the slide of performance from wave 1 to wave 4. We saw a 35% uptick in impressions. We just heard from Olivia, impressions and impression rate are really important for brands. So we were able to maximize ROI on those assets and, drive impressions just within the confines of our program. And of course, when you're setting up the next season-long ambassadorship, then you get to play around with post formats and platforms, and you get to have a lot more fun with it. But there's still ways to do that within the program itself. So some key takeaways. So take your phones out, get the photos, but you definitely want to be integrating into the personal lives of your creators, passions, milestones, low-hanging fruit. Get them flowers on their birthday. It's not that hard. So small things like that go a really, really long way. Second, you always want to have your pool of ambassadors ready to go so you can tap in and engage them for a swift activation, like an unexpected sale, trend, moment, what have you on social. And then finally, analyze early pulse performance so you can maximize outputs and increase performance wave over wave. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we have time for questions. Nope. Is there a mic? Are we bringing mics around, or we're just calling on people? There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm just curious about, especially within TikTok, from both the perspective of the influencer and open influence, and even with Macy's, like how are you dealing with the influx of AI and the way that they're able to kind of manipulate that? Because for me, it's about like the authenticity, but it's becoming so competitive. And though, yes, there's the little thing at the bottom that talks about, oh, this is AI generated. Not everyone is realizing that and looking at that. So how are you like foreseeing that issue and tackling it?
Yeah, from our perspective, right now we're using it to help us deliver amazing assets that perform. So I don't know if you're familiar with Symphony Assistant, but that suite of AI tools is actually awesome. So when we have a brand expecting a hook, messaging, and a CTA, for a script, we can actually feed in, a creator's top line concept, ask the tool to deliver the script, and it'll like fully fleshed out script, and the creator can obviously put it in their own voice. But even if you're not actually, creating content and producing what the script says, it kind of gets the creative juices flowing. So you really do want to see it as the assistant to creative. Now you can obviously dub languages. So if you're doing a global campaign, we're using it to create assets for all different countries around the world. So right now we're kind of seeing it as just a tool to help us create content that's really impactful. If we're like, let's A/B test a hook, we'll put into Symphony, what are 3 different hooks for the fashion category around this trend or whatever it might be. So definitely don't see it as a threat, and it's been really helpful for our industry.
Yeah, same. I feel like I use it as a tool. It's kind of like another team member of my team, because I use it to help me out with captions, to help me out figure out what to say on voiceovers. So it's definitely been helpful, and I like to use it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been popping up in a lot of our like campaign wrap reports too, to start tapping into that and seeing how we can utilize that. So I think kind of it is like a test and learn phase kind of right now, but definitely want to see how that grows like within the future.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I guess just shout.
I got a mic right here. Hi. In the same vein, I'm just curious if you guys are using any AI technology to measure the impact of your creatives or to automate creative review even.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have our own proprietary tech, so everything kind of feeds into that, and we have our own open influence benchmark. So right now we're just comparing against those, and that's been pretty seamless, but that's probably something we're going to explore in the future, for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I was just curious for maybe Open Influence or Macy's, how do you best utilize the content in other owned channels or other paid media? Like, what are your best use cases? How are you utilizing it in other channels?
Yeah, for us, we mostly utilize it, one, within email. We've definitely seen success there just because most of our emails are like Macy's produced photos, but then when we start integrating influencer content, we have seen an uptick in like engagement rate, even with like open rates and click rates and things like that. We also do have within the Macy's site like a sitelet that's more kind of trend based, where we really utilize content there. And then of course like our organic social, we do like to repurpose a lot, and I do feel like the organic social team does kind of want to like put at least like 15% of influencer content within the feed. That's kind of their goal. So we have seen a lot of success there. But we are also exploring in 2025 too a lot more marketing channels that we haven't necessarily used within influencer content yet, but definitely big opportunities there.
Yeah, we actually did a Macy's program maybe in 2022 where we did an out-of-home campaign. So targeted all sorts of billboards around the country, and one of them was Times Square, and we had our creator content up there, and that was awesome. I would literally see it and be like, we did that. And we licensed a custom sound on TikTok and used branded effects, so it really popped when you're in Times Square. So that worked really well. Yeah. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, oh, there's one in the back.
So a question for the Macy's. I'm just curious how you balance putting the control and the voice into creators with also then telling the Macy's point of view, and how you see those two things working together.
Yeah, for sure. I will say we've come a long way within our Macy's creative briefs. Like, we definitely want to kind of put key messaging out there so that we're making sure that influencers are touching on the points that we want them to hit within the content, but always reminding the creators, like, this should truly be authentic to your voice. Like, you should put a spin on this content the way that, you know, you truly feel like it'll resonate with your audience. We definitely provide a lot of inspiration, key messaging, really a lot of creative direction in how we want to kind of craft the message, but ultimately it has been so important to us to really leave it up to the creator to make sure that their voice is flowing through.
I'm not just saying this because I'm up there with them, but we work with hundreds of brands, and Macy's is actually the most hands-off when it comes to, you know, prescribing creative. We have a lot of brands who insist on full scripts, mood boards, wardrobe setting, and, you know, even by the time the creator gets it back, they're like, what is this? After the brand's done their damage on it. So for Macy's, they're usually great just about, you know, a couple of sentences around a high level concept, approved, go into production, and it's a pretty seamless process, but they've always been great about keeping it true to the creator style. I don't know if Jenny, you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, because I feel like every time I submit content to you guys, right away it's like approved. So usually with brands, they have to go through, you know, a process of back and forth, making sure it's what they want, that you said exactly what they wanted you to say. But I feel like you guys take your hands off and you just let us do our part, because we know what our audience connects with. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like how much details can you put in the upfront brief so that you aren't having so much of the back and forth between those content reviews.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come find us if you have questions.